everyone, how you doing? Dan here, and today I've got another DJI Mini 2 video for you. Today I thought we could have a quick look at 5 really useful settings you may have missed in the DJI Fly app, or maybe you didn't even realise they existed. And all these tips are really quite useful, especially if you want to have a more in-depth look into the data of your flights. Maybe some of you will already know some of these hints and tips, but hopefully if there's one in here which you've never seen before. And in that case, that means my job here is done. So let's get straight into it and have a quick look at some of these tips. So tip number 1 is for when we're using Quickshots. Now, for those of you who haven't used Quickshots or are new to the Mini 2, a Quickshot is pretty much an automatic drone movement, which the app will do for you. These are really cool and definitely have the uses. The ones I like the most are the dronie and the circle. So the dronie will move backwards and up at the same time, so you get a nice diagonal shot like that. And we've also got the circle, which will circle around someone, or in other terms, give you a nice parallax. I've actually got another video on my YouTube channel going over some really cool drone movements, and the circle parallax actually comes into there. So if you want to check out some more movements, check out that video. I'll put the link up just above. When you first open Quickshots on the Mini 2 app, it's going to automatically default to 1080p. Even if you've changed all of your video settings to 4K. So what can end up happening is if you forget to change it in Quickshots as well, you're going to end up with 1080p Quickshots, which is fine, they're still great. If you are wanting to slightly reframe or crop in a bit more, you're going to need to be shooting 4K for a 1080p timeline. All you have to do to make sure your Quickshots are 4K is click on the function menu on the right, drop down to Quickshots, and you'll see at the bottom right it says 1080p. Now if you tap this, you'll be able to change it from 1080p to 2.7K and also 4K. So you get a few different options in there. So your machine might not be able to run 4K footage, but if you can run 2.7K, at least you get a little bit of extra playroom if you need it. So for tip number 1, if you do use your Quickshots, definitely make sure you're shooting in the highest resolution which your PC can handle. So tip number 2 is probably my favourite. So we all know this as the return to home button. So once you hold this button down for 2 seconds, your drone will return to your home point at the specified height. Now, I didn't know this, but if you tap the button instead of holding it, the drone is just going to pause. Now, what's really cool about this is even if you're holding your joysticks in a certain direction and you hit pause, it will still stop, which is absolutely amazing. So if you realise you're going into some people or a tree or, some sort of obstacle, if you quickly press this, the drone will stop very quickly. It's almost instant, so it's definitely worth knowing about this. This also works in Quickshots as well, so if you realise halfway through a quick shot, it's going to hit something, if you quickly press the pause button, the drone will just pretty much instantly stop. So definitely a good one to know about. Not only is it a return to home button, it's also a pause button. I mean, it does have a pause button on there, so it should have been self-explanatory for me, but it's something I didn't know, and maybe something what you guys didn't know as well. So tip number 3 is going to have a look at what this function button does. Now, if you haven't seen my previous video on my YouTube channel, it's all about the function button and all about the different functions you can set to this very particular button. So definitely go and check that video out. But you can set things like the gimbal from follow mode to FPV mode. You can change between live view and the map. You can recenter your gimbal with this button. You can also use this as a lock for your automatic exposure and also an unlock. And finally, you can set it as a shortcut to your advanced camera settings. But if you want to learn more about that, make sure to head over to my previous video on my YouTube channel. I'll also put a link just up above. Before we go on to tip 4 and 5, if you are liking this video, please like, comment and subscribe. That would be absolutely amazing, thank you. We're also getting very close to the 1,000 mark now, and as promised in my previous videos, once I get to 1,000, I'm going to be looking at setting up some sort of DJI Mini 2 accessory giveaway. And finally, I've also got a drone playlist which is full of useful tips for photography, video editing, actually capturing video, drone movements, so make sure to check that out too. I'll also put a link to that up above. So tips 4 and 5 are fairly similar, but we both do slightly different things. So for tip 4, we're just going to go to the app, and we're going to go to profile, and this is where the hidden tip is. So this is where we can see a kind of a quick rundown of our flight data, but if you tap more, here you can see every flight you've ever made and all the details along with it. So I'm just going to find one which I know is a good one. I think it's this 12-minute one here. Southport Beach here. Now that says I'm in the sea, the tide was out. If you do remember my video from that, the tide did actually come in, so that's probably actually a pretty good estimation of what was going on. But on here, if you just scrub through, you can kind of see exactly where your drone went. You can see exactly the movements you made, and you can kind of see all the shots you was getting, which is really, really cool. And finally, the really cool thing about this bit is if you press the joystick at the top right, you can see exactly the movements you was making on the joysticks. Now this is really cool, especially for YouTubers like me. When I want to show you particular videos on drone movement, I can show you exactly what was going on, and you can replicate it on your end, which is really cool. But it's also good just to be able to have a quick look at what you did capture and see Like maybe you captured a really, really cool shot and you didn't really know how you captured it. It just happened, and you can kind of come back in here and have a look at exactly what movements you were doing. And then you can go out again and replicate it in the future. So that's definitely something really cool. And this is something I'm definitely going to start using a lot more in my videos for you guys. I think it's so awesome that you can see exactly the movements you was making on the joysticks. Really, it's really, really cool. And tip number 5 is quite similar. It's a way of looking at your data. Now, so what we can do here is if you go to your menu at the top right and go across to camera, sorry. And then here you'll see video subtitles. So I've got mine turned on. And what this allows you to do is record all of the flight data as a subtitle video file. So once you open up this video in something like VLC and turn the subtitles on, you'll actually see all of your flight data. You'll see the speed of the drone, the height of the drone, the distance away the drone is from you, all of your camera settings like your aperture, your ISO, your shutter speed, and you get a lot of information you can just have a look at. So again, if something's gone wrong with the drone, or you just really want to know something about a particular moment you were filming, all of that data will be there. So definitely a really cool one to check out as well. But that's it for the 5 tips. I hope you learned something new. Like I said, maybe you knew all 5 of them, but if you learned just one thing from this video, that would be absolutely amazing. Or if you did like this video, or at least find it informative, please remember to like, comment and subscribe so we can get to the goal of 1,000 subscribers. How amazing will that be? But guys, thank you very much for watching again. I honestly really appreciate it. I can't express how much, but I will see you guys in the next video. Cheers.